What's up, guys? Yeah, you're looking at probably the worst part of my lawn here. It's very patchy. There are a lot of thin areas, a lot of bare spots all along this part of my lawn. But in this video, I'm going to show you how I go about overseeding. It doesn't require any fancy tools or machines like a thatcher or a corrugator. It's just simple garden tools like a rake, like a garden weasel. The goal here for me is to create about a 2 foot wide strip of grass that starts from one end of the bushes and ends right around this area that you're looking at. You'll see me go step by step how I go about overseeding this. And if you have a patchy, bare, or thin spot on your lawn, just follow these steps. And I promise you, I guarantee that you will see some results if you follow each of these steps. So the first step I'm taking here is cleaning the area that I'm going to be overseeding. I'm using my leaf blower and it makes the job a whole lot easier. As you can tell, I have a bigger patchy area that I'm working on. If not, I would just probably pick it up with my hand, pick up the leaves, any trash that is currently sitting on top of the grass here. But I'm choosing to use my leaf blower to speed up the process. Now, if you have a smaller patchy thin area that you're overseeding, you definitely don't need a leaf blower. But if you don't have a leaf blower in your collection, I highly recommend it. I know Home Depot, Lowe's, they're doing all these bundles where it includes a leaf blower, string trimmer, and a lawnmower. So look into that. But nonetheless, you don't need a leaf blower. In fact, you could probably skip this step, but just make sure that you clean the area that you're planning on overseeding, like the way I'm doing here. The next step in the process is to use a tool like the one I'm holding here called a garden weasel. A garden weasel does a great job at loosening up the soil, so when it comes to overseeding and throwing seed down, the seed has a better direct contact with the soil. It also helps if the soil that you're overseeding is too compacted. This will loosen it up so much easier. And here you'll see me using it, rolling it forward and back, breaking up the soil. It did rain a couple days ago, so the soil is damp and it makes it much easier to work with. And you don't want to go too deep. You just want to let the tines do all the work here. I do go all the way to the end here, breaking up the soil, loosening up the soil. But again, this is an important step that I wouldn't miss because you will see better germination rates from it. The seed is gonna be a little bit deeper than just sitting on the surface, so it will be a little bit more protected, especially if the bare spot is bare. There is no grass that's gonna protect it, so you really want that seed to be under the soil just a bit. But yeah, this tool is probably my favorite tool to use when I overseed these thin, bare spots in my lawn. The next step is to actually throw the seed down. Now, I am not too worried about throwing a fancy seed down. Just throwing any grass seed to fill in this spot with grass is gonna do just fine. But I am using a sun and shade mix from Scott's. You can find this at Lowe's, your Home Depot. But the good thing about this bag is that it does contain fertilizer, so it's gonna do a better job at germinating at faster rates. And the way I'm spreading the seed is just using my hand. I am grabbing a full amount, a nice handful amount, generously filling those bare spots with grass seed. I want to cover the exposed soil with grass seed. I shouldn't really see too much soil after applying the seed down. But don't be afraid. Throw down the seed. Make sure that it's nicely spreaded. But this is the fun part. You're actually throwing the seed down. The next step is to rake it all in. Since I used my garden weasel, the soil is already loosened up. So when I apply the seed on top, it is just sitting on top of the soil. I'm using my rake to rake it all in, and it can find its way deeper into the soil and have that direct contact with the soil. And the rake does a great job at doing this. As you can see here, I'm just lightly raking it all in. I don't have to go deep or hard. And you can already tell that the seed is finding its way deeper into the soil. And this part is super important. Do not skip this step. I rake about 2 or 3 times. I pass over about 2 or 3 times, and that should be enough. So the next step is optional. You don't have to throw down a topsoil mix like the one I'm using here. The reason why I chose to do it is because I noticed that there are some low and uneven spots here. It will even it out, it will smooth it out. Another benefit that this bag contains is peat moss, which will help retain moisture better for those new seedlings. But that's really the only reasons why I used it. Other than that, you don't have to follow this step. If you do notice that there are low spots in your lawn and you want to even those out, I would go ahead and use this topsoil mix. I've had good experience with this mix. So after applying a topsoil mix like the one I did, I went ahead and used a leveling rake to level everything out, leaving it smooth and even. If you don't have a leveling rake, you can use a regular rake. I would just flip it on the other side, the flat side, and use that to smooth it out. Again, since I'm aiming to level this part of my lawn out as well as overseeding, I'd use a leveling rake. But if you don't need to level your area that you're overseeding, the bare spot, go ahead and skip this step as well, except just use a regular rake to smooth out some of the loosened dirt, soil that you caused by the garden weasel. But other than that, this is a pretty simple step. It will make your lawn even, smoother, so try not to skip this step if possible. And the last step here is to compact it all in, and you can do this by walking back and forth, applying some pressure and weight onto the soil. This ensures that the seed has that direct contact with the soil and prevents the seed from being washed away from a heavy rain or from overwatering. But by doing this, by compacting the soil, you are making sure that your seed has the best chance in germinating. Okay, just kidding. One last and final step, and that is to water it all in. So after applying the overseeding and doing all the steps in this video, water it all in. Just be careful not to overwater because those seeds will struggle germinating when the soil is too wet. Make sure when you're watering, you apply a nice amount of water without creating puddles or any of that. From now on, until your seeds start germinating, make sure that you do not let the soil get dry because the grass seeds will not germinate. So I recommend watering early in the morning, in the afternoon, and right before sunset. This will ensure that the soil stays moist, giving those seeds the right environment to germinate the fastest. Once you see germination, and you should see germination after 7 days, then I will cut back the watering, but still I would water it in the morning, in the afternoon if possible, so 2 times a day after. But do not let the soil dry in the next week or so because this will affect the germination from the new seedlings. Well, there you have it. You saw me overseeding my patchy and bare spot area in my lawn, and you can do this as well. Now you know how to overseed a patchy bare spot in your lawn, and it didn't require using any fancy tools or any machines. Just go out there, try these steps, and you will see results. I promise. If you follow these exact same steps that I took here, you will get results in less than 7 days. But with that being said, if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. And thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.